Hi, Andrew. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. I'm a little concerned how you started that.
Can you sing your response back to me, please?
I too am wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you love yourself? I mean, no judgment.
I don't know. What are we talking about?
Do you love yourself?
Oh, of course I do. I mean, probably I've been around some people in my life that probably think I love myself too much.
I don't think that's possible.
I know. But I don't think you mean it like that in like an egotistical way, right?
No, just pure when you look in the mirror.
I think I on occasion I dip out on myself. Mm. So I struggle with it on occasion.
Yeah, I think we all do. It's been rolling through my head a lot in the past couple of days of how do we love ourselves? I think it's impossible to put love out into the world if we're not in love with ourselves. We can try thinking maybe I'll feel better about myself if I do this for this person. But the idea of falling in love with yourself has just been in my head for a few days. So I want to talk about it.
Well, by all means, let's.
Let's go.
If Jen wants to talk about it, we shall talk about it. This is No Expectations, the podcast where we have unedited, lively conversations about spirituality, Zen Buddhism, holistic living, and everything in between. My name is Andrew. I'm a lifelong Zen Bodhisattva. It sounds much more fancy than it really is. A part-time tracksuit tailor and an author. This is my buddy, Jen.
What's up? I'm Jen. I love a good cup of coffee, a long walk in the woods at a comfortable, moderate pace. And I love having these conversations about kind of living life with no expectations.
All right, so Jen wants to talk about loving thyself.
To love thyself.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
I keep thinking about some of the comments I've heard from friends and connections recently, and just this general feeling in my community that women, especially, maybe women of a certain age like myself, are having a really certain age, like a fine wine, just struggling to fall in love with the changes their bodies are going through, or falling in love with the place that they find themselves in life, whether it's the job they have or the job they don't have, or, the chaos that is in their home. And I just keep seeing this need to put more love into the world, starting with ourselves.
Okay, so talk to me about what does love look like in that way to you?
To me, it is going back and looking at the reflection in the mirror and truly just saying out loud, I love you. I love you. You're fine the way you are. Nothing needs to change. Maybe you could be a little bit more motivated in these areas of your life, but that is where the self-harm talk starts coming in. And, every time I add a comma but, it's easy to attach myself to, let's work on the things you need to change. And just a constant reminder, a constant work of saying, you're good, you're safe, you can be loved the way you are.
So I'm gonna ask again.
Did I go? All right.
What is love?
Baby,
don't.
No, Mike. Yeah. Okay, you might do that. Don't hurt me.
I said don't.
It's too late. Okay. You open the door. I'm gonna charge in there like a bull in a candy shop.
All right.
I said candy shop. What is China shop? Either one. No.
A candy shop in China.
All right. What is love? What is love? Okay, you tell me.
No. You can't ask a question. I'm the Zen master. You don't ask a question to me about it in the form of a question.
I'm my own Zen master, and now I'm asking you.
So
you tell me.
What does that look like? What does love look like? Or what is that definition of love to you? Is it acceptance?
It's not. It's more than just acceptance. It's going out into my world every day with not just an acceptance, but a confidence, and not an egotistical.
So it's no chip on
confidence.
your shoulder. Like I'm a badass. I'm better than everybody.
I think a healthy dose of I'm a badass is okay. Not a I'm a badass better than you. Now that's where, your ego is leading the way and not your heart and your loving kindness.
Okay, so it is the sense of self-acceptance, but simultaneously being vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Being a badass with your heart on your sleeve.
Sure.
And I'm just trying to. There's kind of a to some people might seem like a juxtaposition, right?
Yeah.
How can I be strong, powerful, and sensitive and accepting at the same time?
Oh my gosh, that the most beautiful people in the world have equal doses of that just oozing from them.
Okay, so we've got a rough idea. We've got a rough idea of what that looks like, what self-love looks like, right, in real world terms.
Yeah, not being able to not cause harm to yourself.
Okay. So we understand, okay, I'm a badass, wearing my heart on my sleeve, right?
I'm also vulnerable.
I love freely, right? All of these things, but I don't just I don't give myself away.
Yeah.
All of those things. So what you're telling me is that you believe, and I'm using your terms here, a woman of your
He is doing air quotes right now.
age. I just want to make sure that
One of my age.
You feel like there's a deficiency of self-love within your age group, or maybe beyond that.
I think at every stage in a woman's life, there's a phase of.
It's not just a woman.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah. You're right. But I can only speak from a feminine perspective.
Okay.
But I would love the masculine perspective because that's
what I'm here for.
It's absolutely overlooked. And loving thyself is probably it is as much needed. And
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
So I can tell I can say from my own experience as a teacher and a man that to your thing of when someone comes and gives me a compliment, I would be the first one like, oh, no big deal. Don't worry about it. That's just what I do. I've had
Or joke it off. Like I'm
joke it
quick
off.
to shrug it off.
You're telling me how I feel. But I've had students come to me that have been with me for a long time, and we've kind of, as I recently kind of retired from day-to-day teaching, I've had a lot of those people come to me and want to have that moment of saying thank you to me. Mm-hmm. In the past, Andrew would have been like, yeah, man, whatever, no big deal. Like, it's cool. Like that's what they pay me the big bucks for. Or, what, I would say something like that. Mm-hmm. And not only would in hindsight, I felt like, oh, man, I deprived them the opportunity to say something that was inside of them that they wanted to articulate to me, a form of gratitude. And then I did not accept. I wasn't open myself. I wasn't being vulnerable and to accept.
Why is it hard for a man to accept?
Well, we're not going to jump into that. But what I'm saying is,
put a bookmark in this.
I had to change how I approached that. And I had to give those people space to say thank you. And I also had to open myself up to receive it, catalog it, and go, you're welcome. That was the trick for me, to learn to say you're welcome, not to say something snarky, which preloaded.
Why was it so hard for you to accept it, to receive that compliment and be okay with it? I think because you didn't want your ego to get in the way.
Or maybe.
Because that is, I think, is in a teacher position or any position when you're leading a group of people doing anything, it's easy to let your ego creep in.
I mean, it wasn't so much, I don't think, an ego thing for me, but maybe it was like a personal, like, I'm not worthy. So you don't really, I appreciate what you're trying to say, but it's really not that big of a deal, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Like I didn't do anything great. I just taught a yoga class.
Well,
taught a million of these.
let's tamp that down. I do everything great. Okay, I do everything great.
Okay, but we're not talking about ego in this episode at all.
All right, let's not go overboard with like okay.
Okay, reel it in, Andrew.
But so it took me a while to kind of reframe that and go, okay, so what I was doing was valuable to someone. And it wasn't supercharging my ego. It was like, okay, I'm making an impact. And I had to open myself and reframe that in myself and going, it's okay to receive that. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to pile it on like ego, like, look at me, everybody loves me. That's not about it for me. It was like, okay. And it fulfilled me at a level. I was like, okay, I understand it now.
Yeah.
It took a reframing. So to you and your journey with self-love and acceptance of compliments, what's that look like as a woman?
As a woman, I mean, I think we have to learn to receive compliments that we give ourselves before we can receive them from other people. And whether using the mirror analogy, when you look in a mirror, you're seeing the physical, tangible parts of yourself. And whether it's just, being able to receive your strong body and compliment it, or your mind, or, the way that you look at yourself. And I don't know, it's a challenge, because at the same time we're being fed so much from the outside world that we're just not quite good enough, or we don't have enough.
Yeah,
or
and I never understood that. Who sets the standard?
I mean, I don't buy into, and no offense or judgment to anyone who does, but I'm not a fillers, Botox person at all. But now that my phone's probably listening to me, I will be. But these advertisements have been coming across my social media feeds just a little bit.
Because you're a woman of that age.
Because I'm a woman of this age. And it enrages me, because for a brief moment, there's a part of me that says, maybe I should get Botox. Maybe I should get fillers, because look how much different she has. Like, maybe her lips are fuller, and I wish I had fuller lips like I did 10 years ago. So it's just this constant slew of negative energy, being told that we have to change ourselves in order to be in love with ourselves, because then other people will be in love with us. So constantly battling that, but doing the work that says, hey, I can ignore that. And I'm not going to attach myself to these external physical.
So let's back up, though. I mean, my experience with this struggle with self-love started as a young man. And I mean, I've written 2 books where the protagonist is a man who had an abusive father, and so I relate to that, because in those scenarios, in those 2 books, and in my own life, you're not good enough. So that's the beginning of the narrative, right? That's how the story starts. And you have to learn to, and it takes a long time, but I have to learn to turn that off. Like, somebody else's opinion of who you are should not frame who you are and how your relationship with yourself. So from a man's perspective, we struggle with that. Or I struggled with that, and I know plenty of other men who've come to me and talked to me about it after they've read some of my books and been like, yeah, I get it. So it starts early.
Oh, yeah. It's weaved into the threads of our DNA of who we are.
Yeah. It's about competition and you're not good enough to do this, and where's your work ethic and da-da-da, if you only, all of these things, right? And so you start to feel crappy about yourself. And then that overflows to your thing is when you look in the mirror, you're like, well, man, if I stink on the football field, I probably stink at whatever, wearing these clothes, or it becomes like this constant. So I
feel fat in my jeans, or I don't wear jeans anymore, because it just it's a constant attack against our self-love when we're outside sources are.
Yeah, because we've let other people. We've let them influence how we think about ourselves. We let their
dictate
words,
it, and if their words, for some reason, have more gravity.
for some reason, have more gravity. And in our mind than our own words about ourselves. And there is a point, we say it a lot in spirituality, but, let that shit go. And you have to be more specific about shit. But in this case, what I'm saying is other people's words are really not that important if they're bringing you down. They're not important. If their sole purpose is to undercut you and make you and diminish you who you are, then you need to find a way to remove those people and their words from your life.
It takes a lot of work to practice saying to yourself, that's a them problem. Like if they see me in that way, I know that's a whole different conversation that we can have if we wanted to peel back the layers of that. But in terms of how we view ourselves and our self-love and the judgments that others give on us, we have to be able to say, I can't control their perception of me, and I'm not going to try to rewrite it, because if we are being true to ourselves and living our authentic selves, then that's a them problem. That's their own issues that they should work on.
And I wish them the best with their journey, and
Absolutely.
I'm compassionate about it, but I can't be an idiot of compassion, right? We've talked about that. Like, I'm not giving myself up to make them happy.
Yeah, to make you comfortable, to make you...
I'm not letting you continue to degrade who I am and to blur my connection with myself.
Yeah, amen.
There was a thing that you talked about before we started recording, a best practice, and I love it. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so this best practice I have implemented. Actually, I haven't implemented yet. I'm going to start tomorrow because it's the start of a new month. And it's a month on love, and Valentine's Day is coming up. So tomorrow, February 1st, I am going to start a best practice that every time I receive a compliment, I'm going to make a note on my phone and write it down. Or if I have a journal on hand, I will. But, and I'm just going to write, I'm going to receive it and acknowledge it, but I'm going to make a note of it. Maybe not right there in real time while the person's giving it to me. Just like,
wait,
could I record this?
Can you hold that? Oh, you really like the way okay. What was that again? Can you speak into the microphone?
But the practice is to show yourself how others are seeing you, and to not just acknowledge and receive, but make a note of the compliments you receive.
What if you're not getting a lot of compliments?
That's fine.
I mean, I'm wearing leopard print slip-ons right now. Do you want to compliment me on those?
Do you need a compliment on those?
Hold on. Let me clarify that they're shoes, leopard print shoes that are slip-ons, not a Speedo.
Not a Speedo.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyhow,
I mean,
I'm just playing devil's advocate
you
here.
are, and I'm thinking through how I would respond if I go a whole month or a whole week or whatever without receiving a compliment. I have to be okay understanding why.
But maybe you are receiving compliments, but you're
Not recognizing.
not
being in the
because
moment. Yeah.
You're like, oh, they're actually making fun of me. So when somebody looks at for example, these beautiful leopard print shoes that I'm wearing and saying, nice shoes, buddy. Is that a compliment? Should I put that in my journal?
I would write that down in a heartbeat. And I might put a question mark beside it that says maybe he was being a smartass.
So that was the other thing. I was going to add on. I'm an add-on guy. I was going to add on, like, okay, I've received this here's the compliment. And then how did that make me feel? Like just in that moment, not like in retrospect, in that moment, they're like, how did that make me feel?
Yeah.
And then if we could continue that add-on, maybe you could compliment someone else.
Absolutely. I think that when I envision how this goes, I can see how the narrative changes to where you're just speaking beauty to things that you see,
right?
And you're saying it out loud. And by receiving a compliment, it makes you maybe a little bit more aware to be able to give them in a true, heartfelt way.
And if I might, I'm sad that we live in a culture where two human beings cannot compliment each other or give a compliment and receive a compliment without it being perceived as some sort of come on or I'm hitting on you. Mm-hmm. I should be able to walk into the grocery store, stand next to whomever, whatever, and be like, hey, I really like that shirt, without any sort of expectation that it's like something more than just that. Isn't that?
I mean, if you're staring at her boobs while you're saying that, that might be.
I didn't even say if it was a man or a woman. I didn't say it was a man or a woman.
There it is.
I just said nice shirt. But that's weird that you went there. I mean, it's weird.
Don't know why they got offended.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow, Andrew. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to practice this for the month of February, and I encourage everyone to join me in their own world doing this. And
so we're receiving compliments, we're documenting compliments, and if possible, sharing a compliments with whomever, maybe somebody in our day-to-day life or a complete stranger.
Yeah, if you see it, something that strikes you as compliment worthy, speak it.
Compliment worthy. Wow.
I don't know what, I mean, it could be.
I think if it creates an emotional reaction for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Then say it.
Then articulate it. Put it out into the world.
Don't be creepy about it or weird. Just be.
So there's no touching.
No, don't touch.
No touching.
Make eye contact.
Eye contact. Say it in a normal voice. Don't be like, hey, that really looks good on you. None of that?
None of that.
Okay, so.
And make a note of it. Make a note as you receive compliments. I really want you to focus on as you receive them.
I think we should put all of this into a blog post so we can put up on the noexpectations.me website, so you can have a script and understand the rules of engagement. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So we don't like slip into some.
Absolutely, we'll post that there.
Bad territory. So, self-love. Here's a best practice. Lots of work coming into February.
Yeah. And I'll tell you again. Another secondary best practice.
Oh wow, you keep going. I was going to end it right there, but you want to keep going.
No, not done yet. Not done yet. I've done a lot of work on self-love, and I'd like to share. So, a best practice that going through this process with myself over several years is music, and how music really connects us to other people and other things. And I've always lived in this, when I hear music and it made me think of somebody and I would think of that person listening to it, I flipped the script and I started hearing some of my favorite songs as being told to myself from me. And it really, like a love song or a song that's just a feel good, anything that just drives an emotion from you, flip the script and imagine you singing that to you, and can you find the beauty in that, in the way that you look at yourself and love yourself? Whether it's another piece of art, it could be an art on the wall that you see that maybe it made you think of someone else. I don't know. It's just a best practice to put in, where we're just constantly thinking about the moment, being in the moment.
I like it. I mean, knowing the catalog of music you listen to, it might be a challenge. But not
at all. If you can sing any Depeche Mode song to yourself, the self-love issue will never.
Yeah, but I was thinking more like, I can't think of a lot of love songs in the Bauhaus catalog, but that's a conversation for another day.
Well, that's when you dive into the Peter Murphy only, okay. And now you and Peter Murphy are having a conversation with yourself.
We've just there's been a whole bunch of people that just dipped out on this conversation.
If you don't love Peter Murphy, then maybe you.
I'm not saying I don't. I'm a big fan. But okay, so I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Find something, piece of art, some creative thing that's been creative for you, poem, whatever, and speak it to yourself. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's a way to continue that journey with self-love.
That's all I have for now on self-love.
More to come.
Thanks for listening to No Expectations, the podcast. We invite you to come join us and carry on the conversation at noexpectations.me, our new website, where we will be posting blog posts. We will link all of our episodes there, and you can follow us on our social media sites through the website.